Good afternoon, everybody. This is Eric with American Business Systems. Want to welcome you here to our Wednesday webinar as we get started here this Wednesday. It's a great time to just spend some time together, and I look forward to this next hour spending a little bit of time with each of you. I've already got a question coming in, so I'm glad to see that already happening. And so Amit, we will get to your question here just shortly. So again, I just want to wish everybody hopefully a great end of this year. Happy holidays to everybody. Folks, we are just weeks away from the end of this year. So it's just an amazingly how quickly this year has gone by. And so there's so many great things to look forward to for this next year. 2024, I think, is going to be an exciting year in so many different ways. Dr. Vicki and I were just talking just briefly before we got this thing kicked off here in a moment, actually this afternoon. And there's so much to look forward to, just not only in life, but also in business, especially in healthcare. There are some great opportunities that lie ahead for those that want to start a business in healthcare or extend their current business. Some of you may already be in business in healthcare. Just think of this as another avenue, another asset to what you're currently doing. So some of you, it may be your first introduction into healthcare. So this is a wonderful opportunity that Dr. Rackner and I get to spend this afternoon being able to chat with you about. We've got a lot to get over in the next hour here. And as you've been on any of our other webinars, you know this hour can go by so fast that you just thought we would just got started here. So like I tell everybody, think of today's webinar. Just say that you're looking to start a business and you're just looking for some advice, some counsel. And let's say that Dr. Rackner and I just met you at the local coffee shop this afternoon. So we just got our coffee, we're sat down. And so this is, one-on-one with you. Now, there are several people that are on the webinar this afternoon, but we treat every question that comes in as though that we were just sitting down with you and just talking with you through what we can share with you over a cup of coffee this afternoon. So please feel free to type in your questions. I'm going to show you exactly where to do that. So that's what this next little slide here is going to show you, is that in the Zoom meeting, there is down at the bottom, there's that little Q&A box. It looks like two little bubbles there. And you are more than welcome to type in your questions there. What I'd like for you to do right now, though, since it looks like we got a pretty good crowd here and some new faces that I've not seen before, just share with me from what state and maybe even the city that you're calling in from this afternoon. I love to kind of see where everybody's located and just like to have that personal touch with you. So if you don't mind sharing a little bit where you're from, maybe how the weather is where you are. And so I know here in Texas, at least here in the north part of Texas, it's a beautiful afternoon. You'd almost think we're almost in spring. We go from cold, and then kind of these mild temperatures here where we're located here. Samar looks like he's from Houston, Texas. Marcelo is in Florida, Miami area. Good to see you. Appreciate you. Teza Seals, I hope I said your name correctly, is also from Texas. Tamika is from Jacksonville, Florida. It's a mild day there. Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's see. So we got people from Texas and Florida. From Tyler, Texas. So we got people from Texas all over the place. Chanel is from Louisiana. Good to have you here this afternoon. Let's see who else we might have on here this afternoon. I know there's a few more. Okay, finally somebody we've crossed over. Sean is from Mesa, Arizona. Good. Yep, good to see you. Yep, Texas is great, and the DFW area. Good to see everybody. Thank you for doing that. Again, it's a great time to kind of get to know each other pretty quickly here as we kind of get some things going here. I'm going to clear out some of these answers so it'll give me some time to look through real questions. Chanel says, LOL, but we'll be in Texas next year. Okay, good. It's good to know that you might be in Texas here. All right. So everybody, welcome this afternoon again to the webinar. Let me share a few things. Obviously, who I am. My name's Eric Auger. I will be your host this afternoon, along with Dr. Vicki Ratner here in just a moment. Folks, we are just weeks away, finally, to declare ABS has been around for 30 years, folks. This is, I just say we're officially 30 years at this point. Man, we're just so close. It's exciting to be a part of a business associated with a business that has been around as long as ABS has. Really, you're going to find out here in just a moment that it's really been around longer than 30 years. Just the side of what we're talking about here has been around for 30 years. The Phillips family have been in billing, gosh, I bet you closer to 40, 45 years if you think about it. And that's what I'm going to share with a little bit about for some of you. Again, for some of you brand new today, I'm just going to share you a little bit of history about American Business System that started with this family, this nice, handsome family a few years back, obviously. You can tell just by the clothes themselves. But this is Patrick at the top. Linda's over there to the right. The little guy in the middle is Adam Phillips. And the little girl down there next to Adam is his sister, Sarah. This is really where it started. Linda was actually asked to do some medical billing by someone who does what's called durable medical equipment. For our healthcare world, we kind of call that short for DME. And she'd never done medical billing before, but they needed a little extra cash there at home, and she was homeschooling her kiddos, so it's a perfect fit. And what happened is a little bit later, it started to grow because not only did they get that doctor or that company, they started getting some doctors. And then other people were asking Patrick, what is Linda doing? You know, it looks like you guys are doing pretty well now. And he got the idea of, obviously, Patrick being somewhat of an serial entrepreneur, he thought, you know what? My family and some friends, we've already taught this to some. Let's see if we can't teach this to others. And so American Business System started. Since then, obviously, Patrick and Linda have both retired. Patrick here is standing next to that young guy that you were seeing there in the middle, Adam Phillips. And now Adam is the CEO now of American Business Systems, is taking over the reins of his parents. This guy's been in it for a long time. This is all that he's ever known. I think the only other job I know that Adam's ever done was work at a Subway, a Subway sandwich shop early on. But other than that, he's been working in this family business since then. And now Adam has had the opportunity to co-author a book with Dr. Ratner here, 9 Ways Doctors Let Money Slip Through Their Fingers. We'll talk a little bit about that, but he's also been contributing some magazine articles. He is also the founder of an organization, again, which Dr. Ratner is the medical director of. It's called the Medical Revenue Management Association of America. This is an important organization that you're going to want to be a part of. The way that you become a part of that is to complete our training, because once you get through with the training, it is this organization called MERMA who actually certifies you as a certified medical revenue manager. And at that point, you can carry that logo on all of your marketing equipment, or all your marketing documents that you have, including your business card or your website or some of the other parts I'm going to show you a little bit later on during the webinar. But that's just part of it. I've just shared with you a little bit about the training and obviously some support, but part of that support comes with a medical billing platform, which we're going to show you how to use that and how to apply that, and how we're actually going to use demonstrating the platform to your potential doctors that are looking for help. And Dr. Ratner is going to talk to you about some of the help that they're actually looking for. And then finally, we have all these other supplementary and auxiliary support services to help you, whether it's Audit Guard or CodeWrite, that help you with your doctors with all of their coding needs. At the very top, you see it says virtual care. Virtual care is nothing more than what's known as remote patient monitoring. This actually was sort of birthed out of the need that we found and other doctors found during the COVID pandemic, where they couldn't see their patients, but they needed to still keep up with them. So what we were able to find and partner with was an organization that helps monitor patients remotely with their blood pressure scales, glucometers. You know, you're taking your blood sugar, pulse oximeters, making sure that you have enough oxygen in your blood. And this is all done remotely. And folks, this is an asset that I think is probably one of the most least talked about, but I think one of the best things that ABS has. And now also you see down there at the kind of the bottom right-hand corner where it says Compliancy Guard. Folks, this is a perfect time to start engaging with doctors, because starting in just 3 more weeks now, the doctors are have to redo all of their HIPAA compliancy rules and make sure that they're up to date on all things. And then they've got to retrain all their staff, because folks, HIPAA compliancy can be a killer. And just knowing that one little thing could destroy an entire doctor's office there. So now let me share with you a little bit about Dr. Ratner. I've gotten to know Dr. Ratner over the years now. I bet you it's been, gosh, she'll tell us here in a moment. She probably have a better memory than I do. But it feels like it's been going on 10 years that we've gotten to know Dr. Ratner, and her being part of what we're doing here at American Business Systems. She has been featured on many of these places here that you see on there, everything from USA Today to Time Magazine to CNN. She's all over the place. She writes books all the time. She's crafting new information. She's working directly with doctors. She'll tell her story here. She is a licensed physician, and so now, but she's actually helping doctors stay above the poverty line, if you can imagine that, folks. She's a part of several other things here. So it's my pleasure to introduce to you Dr. Vicki Ratner. Dr. Ratner, it's good to have you on this afternoon, and what a way to end this year with a webinar with you.
Well, thank you so much, Eric, for inviting me. It's always a pleasure to speak with people who are going to be helping doctors as they help themselves.
You bet. Now, I know that you and I have talked. We had a little discussion beforehand. I'm going to put up a quote that you use very often. Tell us what this means, and tell us, kind of just give us a snapshot where healthcare is and what you could foresee what's going on in the near future here.
Oh boy. So this has been quite the past couple of years. Everyone has been impacted by the COVID pandemic, as have physicians. And remember the beginning of the COVID pandemic, we were worried about, would we have enough ventilators? Would we have enough protective equipment? So every time I operated on a patient, the patient was on a ventilator. Well, because during the COVID pandemic, we wanted to save those ventilators for COVID patients, a lot of the elective cases were deferred. So what that meant was that the highest earners in healthcare, the specialists, the surgeons, anyone who did invasive procedures, they saw an 80 to 90% drop in their income.
Wow.
And we all know that we should have 6 months, a year in emergency savings. But to be quite honest with you, no doctor ever saw a future in which their income would do anything but go up. So this has been a tough couple of years for doctors. Things are turning around now. Doctors are doing their elective cases still, but there is this uncertainty. There's this question, what will the future hold? And because this has been such a scary couple of years, it's not surprising that over half of physicians were burned out last year. They didn't want to go to work.
Wow.
And when doctors are asked, well, what would you need in order to turn the burnout around? The number one answer is more money. And for most physicians, that means seeing more patients. But ABS offers a different solution. They tell doctors, hey, look, if you could only just collect what you are owed,
yes,
could potentially increase your cash flow by 20-25%. So it's like a real and practical way for doctors to turn around their finances and turn around their lives. So that's why I get so excited about partnering with ABS. I'm here offering my full support because every time an ABS business owner is successful, what that means is that there are more successful doctors in their communities that they are now serving.
I'm glad you said that because I like to get it down to the practical, Dr. Rackner. I always like to talk about because I know a lot of people on here today are thinking, gosh, I don't know if I can go sell my services to the doctor. And I'm asking everybody, just put that aside for a second, because I like to look at where I live and maybe whether it's in my zip code or several zip codes that might be around me. I like looking at it that if I can help a doctor with their income and getting their revenue cycle management up to where it needs to be, really, in a sense, I'm helping my entire community. You want to kind of explain what we're talking about there?
Yeah. So there are doctors who are wondering, can I take this anymore? They're
Yes.
thinking about leaving medicine. A fair number of physicians have already left medicine.
Yes.
And what we're talking about is turning around somebody's mindset, turning around somebody's reality so that there are more doctors to serve the community. So Eric, you would ask me, what does this mean? The physician's pain is your opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Physicians are in pain right now. They are in financial pain. They are in professional pain. And you've got a solution for them that's going to help everyone. This is a win-win-win. So if you were like walking down the street and you came across somebody who had just fallen from a bicycle, or, you know, someone who was lifting a heavy carton, or maybe a mom who's got, you know, 4 kids and needed some help, you'd probably say, hey, can I help you?
Yes.
And the answer would probably be yes. So basically what I'm here telling you is that there are doctors out there in your community struggling right now. They don't necessarily know that there is an easy solution to their problem. And so it's really not a question of selling services.
Right.
It's just letting doctors know there's hope. There's a way of dealing with this very problematic situation.
I kind of look at when we're talking with you, and then obviously when business owners get involved, you know, there's this, they have helped themselves. So I call it this guidance on how to market to doctors from our resident physician advisor. Well, that's you. You've written this book called The Myth of the Rich Doctor. Now I'm going to explain some of these other things that are on this screen here in a moment, but this is probably one of your highlighted books that you utilize. You've had a lot of doctors read it. Kind of tell us what this whole book is about, and just kind of share how this has actually helped launch you and what you're doing to help other doctors.
All right. So my secret sauce is offering the bridge between the world in business and the world of medicine. If you've ever done any international travel, you know that people are people, but
Yes.
People speak different languages. They have different cultures. And what I am here to tell you is that the world of medicine functions differently than the world of business. And I discovered that myself when in 2000, I made my transition from being a practicing surgeon to being an entrepreneur. Like I really struggled. And, you know, I actually invested more in my sales and marketing training than I did in medical school.
Wow.
So I made a huge investment because I was struggling so much. And I remember going over to Europe to deliver a talk, and I went to plug in my laptop, but you can't do that directly because Europe is wired differently than the US. You need an adapter. And so I'm kind of the adapter helping people plug into the world of medicine. So this bridge goes both ways, right?
Yes.
So my primary revenue is from helping people, especially financial advisors, build business relationships with doctors. So that's my brand, Engaging Doctors. And I've got another brand, Thriving Doctors, that helps doctors approach their practice in a more entrepreneurial way so that they can enjoy better business outcomes. So how did I get here? Well, I told you I struggled when I made my transition. I made a huge investment. And then like once the light bulb went on, like I just need an adapter. I need this bridge to understand how to adapt what I do into the world of doctors. That's when things really changed for me. And I got really, really interested in doctors and their relationship with money. I've interviewed hundreds and hundreds of doctors about their money stories. And once you have enough conversations, trends emerge.
Yes.
And so the myth of the rich doctor really talks about some of the things that make a difference between thriving doctors and struggling doctors.
Yep. And I pulled up your quote here, and I'm going to read through this because, and then I think you're just going to have to break this down because I think, you know, obviously there's no questions coming in. There's one question, but we're going to get to that one in just a minute. But, you know, why would a doctor ever outsource their billing versus having it in their house, you know, doing billing? But you've written here as a quote from your book, physicians in private practice walk away from an average of 30% of their incomes when they do not follow up on rejected insurance claims. Outsourcing your medical billing could bring claim rejection rates to as low as 2 to 5%. This may be the fastest and easiest way to increase your cash flow. So why outsourcing fixes this problem? Don't doctors have their own billers in their offices, Dr. Ratner?
Yes, they do. In fact, when I first left my residency, I joined a practice of a solo surgeon who had one office person, and this office person did everything. And as I joined the practice, like I wanted to understand, how do things work? How does this billing stuff work? How do I get paid? Yeah. And I started asking more and more questions. And I was not there very long until this woman handed in her resignation. And I think what she saw coming was that she had been embezzling, and she saw that there was a pretty good chance that she was going to get caught.
Yeah.
And so what do my partner and I do? Well, we needed to send out bills, right? And my partner's wife said, well, how hard can this medical billing stuff be? I'll just take a few hours from my tennis game and I'll do your billing. And it didn't take her very long to realize that this was not a viable solution. So when I needed to actually make an owner investment in the business rather than pulling money out to pay my mortgage, I decided there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a way of making sure that I'm insulated from like the stuff that can happen in a small practice. So I actually operated at 2 hospitals, and the second hospital I was operating on was starting a big multidisciplinary breast center, and I wanted to be a part of it. So I set up an independent office at this second facility. And one of the first things I knew was that I was going to outsource my medical billing. Like I'd already seen what can happen when you try to control your situation by keeping the billing in-house.
Sure.
And the complete lack of control. Embezzlement, bills not going out correctly. And further, you know, you've got to remember that in a doctor's office, the person who's doing the billing is getting paid, you know, not very well. They're not getting paid more if they collect more.
Right.
And in a sense, a lot of people are worried, well, gee, if I tell the doctor that 30% of the claims are getting rejected, that doesn't make me look very good. So they kind of keep it a secret from doctors.
Yeah.
So, you know, I from the moment I began my independent practice, I knew that I was going to outsource my billing. How did I find my biller? Well, I have lunch with doctors. So I started asking doctors, who does your billing? Do you like this person? And that's how doctors work. They share information. And I interviewed the person whose name came up the most. And I hired her. Best choice I ever made. So, how do you build a practice? Well, you become that go-to guy or go-to gal that doctors start talking about, and they will do your marketing for you.
Absolutely. I'm going to go ahead and throw this question up here from Amit. He's asking, what is the guarantee I will get a doctor to do medical billing? I'm going to first of all tell you, in any business, there's never a guarantee that anything will happen, because a lot of what we do, we know that we can supply the resources, the training, the support. One thing we can't do is force you to go out and market your business. Now, people are going to think, my goodness, now we've just kind of shifted away. You said, don't say anything about sales. Now you're talking about marketing. What I'm telling you is this: someone's got to know that you're doing business. That's the key. So think of it not so much as I'm trying to sell my business, but informing others, this is the business that I'm in. And Dr. Ratner, what I've been doing over some of the webinars over the last couple of months is really just trying to encourage people to go, hey, if you're going to get into any business, whether it's this business or any other business, you still got to let people know that you're in business in this particular sector. And the more that you share that, and the more that you can get out there, and then we're going to help you. We'll share with you a few things this afternoon that how we're going to help you. But we're going to help you demonstrate the software, demonstrate how we're going to help you, recover money that's lost for these doctors. And all we're doing basically is finding money that is actually owed to them. So these are some of the things that we're going to do to help you in doing that. But Amit, I hope that helped answer your question in a positive way, because I would love to say that, yes, we're going to guarantee you get a doctor next week. But this is going to take, just like any other business, work. I mean, Dr. Ratner just didn't wake up one day and thought, hey, you know what? I'm going to be a surgeon and then just go operate on somebody. She had to invest time to go learn it, to go practice it, and do what she did to get to where she was as a surgeon. Then she had to learn on what it had to do to run the business side of healthcare, and she went and did that. So it's just the investment. It's more than just the monetary investment. It's the investment that you make into yourself. So one of the things I want to give everybody this afternoon, we're kind of at the bottom of the hour, is we have a digital copy of this book, The Myth of the Rich Doctor. We're in the holiday season. We're in the time of giving. So this is a great time for us to give this. So what I'm going to ask everybody to do, as soon as this webinar is over, contact your business coach that you're working in here at American Business Systems and request this digital copy from Dr. Ratner. The Myth of the Rich Doctor will get you a copy of that. So hopefully, Amit, that helped answer your question.
Might I offer some 2 cents
yes,
on this too, Eric?
Yes, please.
I get you, right? It would be nice to have a guarantee when we take a risk and invest in a business. And believe me, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've started any number of businesses. Some have not worked. And so you want to optimize your chance of success, because there are no promises in life.
Yes.
And what I look for when I think about whether this is the right way to go is there anybody out there successfully doing what I have done? And is there a reliable path there? So ABS has a track record of helping people who have no background in healthcare, kind of like Linda, to run successful businesses. So if there's a way, if there's a formula that works for others, chances are pretty good it's going to work for you. And I'm going to sort of set aside humility for a minute and let you know that I could be a big part of your success, because doctors pay attention to what other doctors say and do. So if you send a doctor a letter, it's one thing. If the letter comes from another doctor, it's something else. And because, Patrick and I and Eric and Adam were always thinking about what marketing materials can we create to help you be successful. And basically, I think of marketing as engaging a prospect in conversation. I think of selling as inspiring them to take that next step.
Yeah.
So really the question is, how can you have more conversations about topics doctors want to talk about? And how can you inspire them to take the next step? So like, I've got an entire course, the B2D Blueprint, how to conduct business with doctors. This is like a doable, scalable thing that you can do.
Yeah,
so go ahead, Eric.
No, I was just going to, all I wanted to say, it's almost marketing anybody's business, again, whether it's this business or not, it's almost like trying to like play football without a football, or baseball without a baseball, or basketball without a basketball. It's part of the game. It's just part of what you do, and that's how you win. And so one of the ways that you and Patrick, are finding easier ways for new business owners to win is through this book, The New Thriving Medical Practice. You talked about one of the things one of your branded parts of what you do is teaching doctors how to thrive. And you and Patrick came up with this book called The New Thriving Medical Practice. And the brainchild of what you and Patrick put together is not only you've written the book, you've kind of put all of the major pain problems with doctors with solutions in the book, but there's an opportunity for these new business owners to participate in this book for them to have written the foreword to the book, and their name goes on the book. This has been a brilliant marketing piece. So if people are looking to try to how to close that gap of how can I guarantee of getting a doctor, this book here really starts to shorten that gap on I don't have a client to getting a client.
Right. So I knew how much doctors like these books. And I'm a little embarrassed to admit how long it took me to realize, well, wait a minute, if it's working for me, it can work for people in ABS or financial advisors. And actually, if a financial advisor wants to do this, if they want to write a foreword and afterward and have their name be on the front cover of the book, the investment for a financial advisor right now is $10,000.
Yeah.
That's just for the book.
Just for the book.
Yeah. And Eric, how much do you charge your licensees for this?
Well, there's no cost. It's actually included in their entire package. So right now, our entire package is $28,990. So it's just under $30,000. But that's getting everything. That's the training. That's the lifetime of support. That's everything that goes along with it, including this book. And they are actually getting, I think, 10 to 15 copies of this book initially in this package. But folks, if you need more, you're going to get it at our cost at $5 a book. So yeah, it's if you're saying that it costs a financial advisor $10,000 just to do one of these with you, I mean, my goodness, that's what, a third of the cost here and then everything else that you're getting here at American Business Systems. And
the reason that I charge $10,000 is that I know what the lifetime value of the physician client is.
Yes.
I think people should get at least a 10-to-1 return on their investment. And I know that this is a great way of meeting new doctors. Now, Eric, haven't you found that the licensees have experienced similar success with this book?
No doubt. No doubt. I mean, I can recall, we talked about COVID already. And, you remember then, not only were not the patients actually being able to get to the doctor's office, people that were starting in medical billing, they had no way to get to the doctors. So we found ways of getting this book into the doctor's hands by mailing them. And then I'm going to throw this up here with a letter from Dr. Ratner introducing a particular business owner from American Business Systems. And I know of one, handed out 3 books with 3 of these letters, ended up with 2 brand new clients during COVID. So,
Yep.
So explain this letter here and the importance of because not only have you gotten a book, and the brand new business owners here at American Business Systems get to put their forward into the book, but even if they try to get this to a doctor, it doesn't guarantee that the doctor's going to read the book.
Right.
This will help. Talk to us about this bridge that you've done.
Yes. Okay. So you know that I've already run my own practice. I hired the gatekeeper, and my poor gatekeeper, she had to walk a tightrope. So her job was to keep me happy, and I would be unhappy for 2 different things. I would be unhappy if something got through to me that I didn't want to get through. And the way I described it to her is, if this doesn't help me take better care of individual patients, I don't want it. So that meant I didn't see drug reps. If I got a letter from somebody about medical billing, I wouldn't even see it, because that would be the kind of thing that I would have gotten mad if it would have gotten through, right?
Right.
And I also would have gotten mad if she screened out something that I would have wanted.
Yes.
So anything that had a doctor's name in the return address was something that she had a duty to pass through to me. So this is kind of a little life hack, a business hack.
I love that.
Allows doctors to get your communication at least on their desk.
Yes.
And there's a reason that the letter is as it is, but basically you got kind of a ninja way of making sure that your message gets through the noise. And to be quite honest, that is one of the biggest challenges. Like, how do you get past the gatekeeper? And ABS will offer you all sorts of different ways of doing it. But now you can leverage my reputation and my name and return address to help do that. And I think ABS is pretty much the only organization in medical billing that really harnesses the power of a physician like this.
No doubt. I can't think of any other business opportunity out there that could even come close, not only just with the different services, the lifetime of support, the training that you're getting, all the ongoing training, but just the introduction from one doctor to another doctor, utilizing a book that actually has your name on it, showing that you've written the forward to the book. Folks, I mean, telling you, this is a winner here. And again, like we've said, nothing in life is a guarantee, but let me put it this way. This is the best way to put the right bait on a hook to get a doctor at least tugging on the line. That's all you want. You just want that little bitty tug and go, oh, I think I've got one that's at least jiggling my line here. And then we're going to show you how to reel that doctor in and get that doctor potentially as a client on so many different levels. But yes, Dr. Ratner, kind of circling back to the question that you asked earlier, are there other ABS business owners that have found success by utilizing just what we've talked about? And no doubt, hands down, this is a great way introducing a business owner to doctors that are in their area. So Yeah, kudos to you, kudos to Patrick, and really, the ongoing, everything that Adam's doing here, supporting these business owners to help them get their first client.
Absolutely. And listen, you're here because you're thinking about starting a business. So here's a tip, no matter what business you decide to go into, it's to activate the law of reciprocity.
Yes.
We know that if I do something nice for you, you'll do something nice for me. So think about beginning relationships by giving a gift that somebody would want. There was a really great study about how waiters and waitresses could increase their tips, right? So if they just presented the tab to the customers, they got X level of tips. If they included 2 mints with the tips went up like 10 or 15%. And if they then walked by the table and said, hey, you might have some kids at home, here's some extra mints to take home, it went up to 30%. So gift giving is really, really big. It's a gracious way of beginning a relationship.
And folks, not only do you have just the new thriving medical practice to hand out, but then again, let's not forget there's another little smaller book that Adam and Dr. Ratner have co-authored together. And it's called 9 Ways Doctors Let Money Slip Through Their Fingers. And then you see that little yellow sticker up over there. That's a sticker that goes on that book, again, advertising your company. So imagine that you get the book, The New Thriving Medical Practice, to the doctor. And then maybe another 2 or 3 weeks later, maybe another month later, you go, hey, I've got another interesting book that the doctor might want to get. This time that you might have already developed some type of relationship of just getting this out to the over to the doctor's office themselves. Or maybe you're at a luncheon, or Dr. Ratner, I'm a big fan of going to Chamber of Commerce luncheons, other types of luncheons that are in my area that are business related, business after hours. These things are happening all the time. And just getting out and about and kind of meeting other business folks within the community and other parts of where I may live, especially in the medical districts of our towns. And having 2 or 3 of these just on hand, sign it a little bit to say, hey, this is just a gift. And it may not even be to the doctor. You may run across at an after hours, a business after hours, maybe one of the nurses, maybe it could be the office manager. You go, hey, just give this book to the doctor from me. And just that simplicity there of giving something to somebody, and it just hits the right hand at the right time. It's just amazing.
Right. So one of my mentors says, show the value you deliver by actually delivering value. And this is
Yes.
This is an easy way of doing it.
Yeah. And then there's actually another one that's been done here, 10 Critical Questions for Physicians in Private Practice. And again, this is another book here at American Business Systems that we can print your contact information on the back of these books. And that is just, and I'm going to throw this up here. These are all the other marketing pieces of material that kind of drill down on certain services. We've just been talking just really basically about medical billing at this point, but there are so many other services. I'm reading some of these comments over here, Dr. Ratner, about marketing, and Tamika says marketing yourself on social media can really help get the word out on various websites. James says it's just basically networking with other business owners. There's just people are getting it. So let's see. There is this person here, Vinay, is asking about how can you tell me how we can start this business? It's what I'm going to tell you, Vinay, is that all you got to do after we get through with this webinar today, get back with the business coach that you're working with here, and then they'll help coach you right along the way. If you don't know who that is, if you'll hang on just about another 15 minutes, we're going to be wrapping up here. And I'm going to share with you about about 6 steps that you can take to kind of know what to do, taking it to the next step. So Vinay, if you'll just kind of hang on there just for a little bit, we're almost wrapped up here with some information, and I'll certainly help you out with that. So Dr. Ratner, as we're kind of going in, or let's just kind of put it this way, we're wrapping up 2023. Put yourself back in the time where you were in your practice, and you're looking forward to going into 2024. You're the doctor. You've probably been doing some reviews by now of what you kind of your productivity of 2023. Talk us through that. What are doctors doing right now? And why is this time, maybe over the, let's call it the next 3 to 4 months, kind of a good open window that you could possibly get some attention from some doctors?
Well, doctors are going to be filling out their taxes, right?
Yes.
Doctors hate paying taxes. You know, if you surveyed Americans, about half of Americans think that they're paying too much in taxes. 75% of doctors are thinking that they are. And so they're in talking with their CPAs, their tax strategists about, man, how do I not get killed in taxes?
Yes.
And so this is a time, you know, it's the beginning of the year. Doctors are reinventing themselves. I mean, the book that I'm going to be working on right after I get off the line is How Doctors Build True Wealth, which is, you know, having the freedom to do what they want to do when they want to do it in a way that's authentic to themselves.
Yeah.
So, you know, how do doctors create that picture of that for themselves? How do they attract patients or other people who will pay them well to do the work they love to do? And then third, how do they put their money to work making money? Okay, why am I writing this book? Because I've had enough conversations with doctors who are unhappy that it's my sense that this is the book that they need to read right now.
Yes.
So doctors are thinking about, how do I create this different future? How do I avoid the disaster that I faced when the COVID pandemic first picked up? And I was reading about risk, like financial risk, and it says, risk is the thing that comes up when you've thought of all of the problems you can think of.
Yes.
Who would have imagined COVID, right?
Right.
Who would have imagined billing issues? So just know that there are doctors actively asking, how can I reinvent myself? How can I do better? And how can I return to the dream? So I think that this is a great time. It's just a great time to be doing this.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And with the services that we have here, I remember, because whenever I've actually built 2 billing businesses already. And so number one, I know that it can be done. I use the same model as we're talking about here. But I tell you, one of my favorite parts of doing marketing out there was dealing with things that I know that doctors had to deal with regularly all the time. And one of them was the HIPAA compliancy part of it. You know, you can't get away from that. That's year in and year out. There's not a time where a doctor, it's kind of like, you know, what keeps a doctor up at night? You know, it's someone in their office whom they've hired, hopefully that they're doing everything they need to do to keep patient information private, but somehow it leaks out. All of a sudden, now they're under an investigation, and that alone. So what I've done, folks, is I loved having the opportunity. I'd carry a couple of my books like what we've shown here for you already, but then I would walk in and just simply say, hey, I'd like to talk to your compliancy officer. Now, Dr. Ratner, you would have thought I was the FBI asking them to show me all of their books. It was really like this, oh my gosh, what is this guy going to ask for? But, you know, the doctor's office have to have a compliancy officer. And many times that compliancy officer is the doctor. And so once they understood why I was wanting to ask for their compliancy officer, many times I would actually get an audience either with the office manager, or many times with the doctors at a different time that I was there. And so, folks, this is I didn't have to sell anything. The doctors already know what their greatest needs are already. So
Eric, may I just tell a little story here?
Yes, please.
Okay, so plastic surgeons, they change the visual appearance of their
Yes.
patients, right? So that there are before and after pictures.
Yes.
Well, there are plastic surgeons known for dealing with celebrities.
Yes.
So this one scammer was able to hack into the
My goodness.
medical records of a plastic surgeon in Los Angeles. And he said, look, if you pay me this amount of money, which is in the millions, I won't release the pictures that I took. And when the surgeon did not hand over the ransom, celebrities before and after photos started appearing online. And then he went to the celebrities to get it taken down. This was such a big deal that it was actually reported on CNN. It was on the news. Plastic surgeons beware. This can be an absolute nightmare.
Yes. I have never heard that story. I could only imagine just can't even imagine. Yeah, but folks, this is happening all the time. I'll give you, I'll give everybody just a little hint. Everybody has a cell phone nowadays, and there are HIPAA ways and regulations and training that every doctor's office needs to know about with their employees, their staff having cell phones back behind what you call the glass. Whenever you enter from the lobby, which is secure, there's no patient data out there, but you move past that area and you're going to the exam rooms, everything passed in all that area is got to be clean, HIPAA-wise, so to say. But one of the greatest violations are people when they want to post something at the doctor's office, they think they're taking selfies or they're taking pictures of maybe someone sent them some flowers and they're going to take a picture of those flowers. And inevitably, there is a patient folder sitting there and it gets snapshot and it gets put on Facebook.
Yeah.
It just happens. So we've got these different solutions, folks, for you to kind of help you get that first doctor. So, Dr. Ratner, we're about 8 minutes into the top of the hour here. So, I always kind of like to give you just this last few minutes here of just talking with these folks. Talking to them about what you feel like they should be doing next, what they should be thinking. Closing out the year, trying to start a new business come 2024, of helping doctors with their medical billing.
All right. So first of all, I honor you for being here. Thank you so much for investing your time here. I hope that this conversation has offered more clarity. And I guess I would just put on my entrepreneurial hat and say, you're most likely at a crossroads. You're most likely considering various options. And as you think about this thing that you're going to be doing, I invite you to think about 3 questions. The first is, what is the future for this business, right? Because there's been a lot of businesses that have closed.
Yes.
We know that healthcare is something that's going to stay. So I think we can all agree that a business in the healthcare industry is a yes to that question. The second question is there a path to success? And ABS has a long track record for this. We know that this is growing, so I think that the answer is yes. And the third question is this a fit for you? Like, how would you feel if you went to bed at night knowing that you help transform the lives of physicians, and in so doing, generated a revenue for yourself that might even exceed that physician?
Yes. Yeah.
And I would say yes. So you can see why I'm so enthusiastic about ABS. And by the way, I don't have any financial incentive to convincing you to go with ABS. I just want you to make a choice that's going to work well for you. And I'm just really excited about working with ABS.
Dr. Reichner, thank you for your time. I know that you're busy and I appreciate your time. You try to give us 3 or 4, 5 interviews a year. And, if you think about it, we do one every week of the year. So we're doing 52 webinars a year, and you're always gracious there to help us out with being on here every so often. So, kind of closing out 2023, going into 2024. I'm going to say from the Phillips family, I feel like I'm a part of the Phillips family. Thank you, Dr. Reichner, for everything that you've done for ABS and the business owners here.
It is my pleasure. Hope everyone has a happy holiday season and a great new year. Thanks again for the invitation, Eric. I'll sign up.
Thank you. Now. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Good night. All right, everybody. So you're kind of wanting to know what the next steps are. Let me share with you again. Someone asked earlier about a guarantee. So Amit was asking about a guarantee. What I can provide for you is that ABS does give you a 30-day money back guarantee. What that means is that we want you to go ahead and finish out and do the paperwork that you're going to have to do. Go ahead and fund your investment here. But remember that funding of that investment is held aside until you've made your final decisions 30 days after you've done the engagement with us, which means that you're going to go through the entirety of all of our training here. So there's 10 modules to the training. It's going to take you probably less than 10 days of getting all of that wrapped up there. And even after that, you still have, let's just call it another 20 days to still feel like, gosh, is this really what I want to do? People have asked in the past, has ABS ever given them money back? You bet we have. It wouldn't be a guarantee and a valid guarantee if we had not been able to do that. Because listen, the last thing we want from anybody is to feel sorry that they made a bad choice. It's all we want. I always want to give everybody a fair opportunity to see everything that we have here at American Business Systems. Obviously, folks, a lot of you attend these webinars week in and week out. We're here. We're consistent, and we want you to make sure that we take it all the way through. So we want to give you opportunities to talk to other business owners. And so you're going to have that opportunity even before you do sign on that dotted line. And there's some other things I'm going to share with you that you can do prior to making and moving forward with your investment for yourself. But once you've made that investment, again, folks, you still have another 30 days to really evaluate, to make sure that this is the right business for you. And if not, as Patrick used to say all the time, he says, we will arrange the arrangements for getting everything back from you, and we will just shake hands and part as friends. And we certainly would wish both of us to well on our way. So again, that's our 30-day money back guarantee. If you haven't gotten a copy of the agreement, get a copy of it. I'm going to show you how you can do that here in a moment. But this guarantee is actually on the first page. It's one little paragraph part of the agreement. There's no wiggle room for us. It's not in fine print anywhere. It's right smack dab on the front page. So if you haven't gotten the chance to get that copy. So what I also want you to do is ask for the research guide. Now, there are some of you who may know who your business coach is here. You've already maybe engaged with them. But if you don't know who that is, here's the number, 866-565-8413. Call that number. If you got to leave a message to say, hey, I was on the webinar with Dr. Reichner this afternoon with Eric, and I really don't know who I'm supposed to be working with here. Give us a call. We'll find that person. They will contact you. But probably you already know who you're working with. So what I want you to do is not only go ask for the research guide. Remember, today you can get that gift of the Myth of the Rich Doctor in a PDF format for you to review and get that copy so you can start reviewing that. But this is what that research guide looks like. It's about 65 pages worth of information. It's going to kind of help guide you on everything that we talk about here at American Business Systems, including the ABS story, how it all started. But then we're going to take you through each of these services that I've been talking with you about already. On our YouTube channel, go to youtube.com/YABS. We have got all of our past webinars, including this one, will be on there in the next couple of days. So if you missed anything today, you can always go back here and watch it and listen to the questions that were asked, some of the things that we discussed here. You can always go back and review those. I mentioned to you that I want you to get back with your business coach and ask for a reference list. These are people who have sat right where you are during a webinar. They've been here. They've had the same fears of, gosh, do I really get started? Do I not get started? It sounds good. Sometimes it sounds too good to be true. Talk to these folks. What they're going to do is talk with you on your level as a potential business owner in anything. They're going to tell you the struggles that they've had. We're not always saying that nobody's ever struggled and nobody's ever not got a first client within the time frame that most people think that they should have gotten one in. But they're going to work with you and share with you their stories and maybe even improve what you could do once you get started. The other thing I want you to do before you even have to pay anything, you need to get with your business coach and arrange a live demonstration of that iClaim EMRX system. Have 1, 2, invite your friends and neighbors over and watch it together and validate to see if this is a right business for you of doing this. Now, this is not a webinar. This will be a Zoom meeting, and you'll have the opportunity to ask questions and do all of this. It's not like this webinar where you can't talk, you just have to type in. But it'll be an engaging Zoom meeting that you'll have with somebody, going over the details of what that demonstration looks like. Now, what you can take away from this demonstration is that you're going to be able to learn that this is what we're offering you after you've become a licensee or a business owner here at American Business Systems. Because when it's time to show your doctor, it's not you that's going to be doing the demonstration. We're going to come alongside you. We're going to do the demonstration to make sure that nothing gets dropped through the cracks or anything else like that. You can rely heavily upon us to help you basically close the deal. Then get the purchase agreement. Like I said earlier, just ask for that by name from your business coach. I think they sent it to you in a link now. You can review that. I think it's up to maybe 5 pages long, a little bit, no more than 4 to 5 pages. And then lastly, get your funding started. Go ahead and put it in, folks. If you would like to try to make your investment in 2023, you've got some possibilities of taking advantage of maybe some tax advantages of starting a business here in 2023 versus 2024. I will say that as a disclaimer, I'm not a CPA. I'm not an attorney. I'm just a business guy myself. So whatever information I'm giving to you is just simply call it for entertainment purposes, if you want to call it that. But I understand that if I'm making certain decisions, there are certain decisions I do at the end of the year. There's some decisions I make at the first of the year. So if you're thinking about it, you got a few weeks left that you might be able to have some advantages of starting your business now and getting those funding in 2023. I do know that we're supposed to be going up on our pricing up in 2024. I haven't finally got the final word on that yet, but that will happen. But we want to get you started on your training. You could start now. You could actually get your purchase made in 2023. And you may say, look, I don't want to do anything now between now and the end of the year. I want to get through the holidays. I'll start my training in January. You can do that. So again, you got some wiggle room here of how you want to start, what you want to do next, all that's there. So hopefully this webinar has been, obviously you're talking to a doctor who's been there, done that, actually helping other doctors. So I think hopefully you've gotten a lot out of this. Now, Tasha is, I think that hopefully I've said your name correctly, and hopefully you're still around. Let me see if you're still there. Yeah, you're still here. I didn't forget about your question. It was asked here, is there a way that you all have data analytics that could give us an idea of how many doctors in our area need these services? Is there such a thing? Because there's a lot of facilities in my area, and I think have a lot of options here, but I'm a numbers person. That's a great question. What you're kind of looking for is a a list. Now, let me tell you about lists. There are lists come and go. There are a lot of paid lists that are out there that kind of have done some marketing analysis out there. But I'm going to tell you, nothing works as good as just the good old-fashioned getting in the community and learning your community and figuring out what these doctors are doing. The reason I say that there is because it's been my experience. We've done this. I've done it personally. ABS used to have lists and some of these data analysis type things. They're only as good as the time that they are done. By the time it gets filtered over to us, it could be 2 to 3 weeks old. And by then, it's just changed. Okay, that's understandable. I appreciate that. I'm just talking as a business person to a business person. This healthcare industry changes so quickly. And it's so fluid. And what I mean by that, you may have doctors who have outsourced their business, that they brought it back in-house, then they outsourced it again. And I'm going to tell you, doctors are right now trying to figure out, do I keep my billing in my office? Do I get it outsourced? This is the time to start hearing from other healthcare professionals in the area. I'm a big proponent. I know we've kind of gone over a little bit, but just let me wrap up and be patient with me. But getting in your community, attending BNI meetings, meetup groups, business after hours and healthcare, Chamber of Commerce meetings, you do that and you start to let people know that you're a part of the healthcare community. You're going to start getting people wanting to know a little bit more what you're doing. You can set up some demos for some people. ABS will do those demos for you. So if you don't let your healthcare community know that you're in business, they're just not going to beat your door down. And I know that you can do so much social marketing. You can do so many things on your website to try to draw people in to see about it. But again, there's nothing better than just good old fashioned, hey, this is what I do. This is my passion. This is why I do it. I know doctors are hurting. A lot of doctors are leaving practice. Our healthcare care in our community is going down because we don't have really good doctors anymore. That's my passion. That's why I've been in healthcare now for 17 years. This is why I do it, because I've had my own loved ones that needed help, and I've needed help. My friends need help. My community people need help. That's why we do it. If you find it as that part of your passion of what you do in healthcare, you will become successful. So Tasha says that it does. I've been in healthcare field for over 10 years. I appreciate the info. Thank you so much. So yeah, you understand what I'm talking about. So you're welcome. Folks, listen, what is it? Let's see. I'm going to look at my phone here. We have 1, 2, 3 more Wednesdays of the year. We will do 3 more webinars for 2023. Obviously, we'll start up come the first week of January. But people are asking, are we going to do a webinar 2 or 3 days after Christmas? You bet. Are we going to do one 2 or 3 days after the first of the year? You bet. We're here. We've been doing this for 30 years. We'll continue to keep doing it for another 30 years. So if you're still trying to make your decision, we're here for you. I appreciate everybody's time being on here this afternoon. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful evening, a great weekend. Remember, hug your families. Enjoy this time of the year. This is a great part of the time of the year. I love it all the time. So you guys just do the same. I will see you next Wednesday. We're going to be talking about some more things. I'm going to try to see if we can't squeeze in one more interview with a business owner. I'm going to see if I can find one between now and the end of the year. We'll see if we can't get one in. Until then, folks, y'all have a great evening. Give us a call here at 866-565-8413. Y'all have a blessed evening. Y'all have a good night. Bye-bye, everybody.